You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, hosted by Steve Jenny and his satanic assistant, Alex Houdini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Alrighty. We're back for probably the last time this season, Alex. It's just hard to believe this season's already gone by. And look at this guy; he's drunk already. Jesus, can't take it.
I didn't want to wait until the.
And if
show.
you're listening to on the New Visions Radio Network, you got to pop on over here to YouTube to see this. The evidence is in the pudding, and the proof is in the pudding. Like, come on.
The shirt wasn't red when I started the night.
We can get.
Anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course watching us here live on the YouTube channel. Tonight our season finale, season 17, and I think we're going to go out with a bang here. We're paying tribute to women in the paranormal. I mean, how better can you get? Come on, seriously. Where's all the cheers? What?
It was there. Yeah, it was there.
Welcome everybody, and we'll let everybody like singly say, "Hey, this is who I am." For those who may not know already, I guess we'll start with Laura. Raw side, you start the train.
All right, here we go. I'm Laura. I'm with Raw Side Paranormal. My first experience in the paranormal was at 8 years old in a real castle in Mohawk, New York. Ever since then, I've had many things happen to me as the years went by. I've got 30 years in the paranormal field. And what I ended up doing was turning it into my, full-time hobby now that I'm retired. And I have a podcast to share all of my experiences with all of you fine folks.
And I will put all the links, by the way. I haven't had a chance to put the links, but I will put all the links in there for everybody to check out everyone's YouTube channel and so on and so on. Go ahead, Michelle. We all know Michelle, but go ahead, Michelle.
Stop it. No. Okay, well, I am Michelle DeRoche. I am an extraterrestrial and paranormal experiencer my whole life. So, there's no way of not getting into it one way or another. I host The Outer Realm and the spin-off show now, which is Beyond the Outer Realm. I manage United Public Radio Network out of New Orleans. Gosh, I don't know. I'm not so much involved. I retired from film a few years ago, and I do radio because it's just a lot of fun, and I get to meet people and keep up. I always say, we're students. No such thing as experts, despite what
exactly.
The hell they try to get people to believe, right? So I continue my journey of being a student and experiencing amazing people who come on the shows, every single week. So what am I doing now aside from that? I consult on the creation of TV series, documentaries, and things like that behind the scenes, which is actually where I prefer to be. And that's what we keep doing.
Oh, you're so photogenic.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm also old, Alex. I'm fucking old and I'm tired.
No, you're not.
Old and freaking broken right now. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Carla.
Hi, I'm Carla, also known as Horror of Horror. I started seeing apparitions when I was younger, about Laura's age, 7, 8 years old. I didn't really get into paranormal research and investigating until my 20s. Been doing some investigations for 23 years now. I started my channel after I ran as the face of horror and made the top 5 finalists. It was the first year in 2023, and done some modeling, things like that. But my channel is strictly horror debunking and paranormal investigations. I live in Montana. I like to explore ghost towns, actually. I'd like to go to some other places, maybe Eastern, like Louisiana, things like that. So, but mainly around here, I prefer the ghost towns. last year I was manager of a cemetery here in Helena, Resurrection Cemetery. So I did everything from selling graves, contracts, digging the graves, using the backhoe, the whole ceremony for the families. And then the cemetery was turned over to the funeral home, and there was an opening that came up, and now I work at the crematory, and I cremate both humans and animals currently.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Mm.
Very, very interesting.
Now I know the new name, the reason why you chose that name.
Whole body. Yeah, I just love it. I don't know. I grew up just loving Halloween, and it just stuck with me, and that's what my passion is. So
my favorite time of the year, Halloween.
Likewise.
Oh,
it's a great service for people.
yeah.
What I do. So it's hard physically and mentally, but it's rewarding. I love the cemetery. I was really attached to it, but everything's about money these days, and unfortunately that's what happens. So the funeral makes more money than the diocese, and
Yeah.
kind of fell into place for what I'm doing now. So I just I feel like I belong where I'm at too. So just move
Awesome.
forward and trying to grow my channel and share with everybody the stuff that I love.
Well, I've been watching the channel for a little while now. I mean, I think it was because of Laura. I think when I first started watching Laura's channel, I think I caught you on her or in the chat or something. I remember, and then flocking on over and seeing what you're doing. So some pretty cool stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, Laura, she's been a big support of mine. Like, she was my first live ever.
Yeah.
Jailbreak.
So, yeah, that's probably what you caught was her first live. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen, go ahead.
Oh man, you guys are the coolest. Holy shit.
I'm mild compared to all of you, so you should have started with me first, Steve, to be fair.
No, that's including you as well, Melissa, because I know you. My name is Kristen, and I am the host of the Paranormal Girl podcast. I've been doing that for coming up here on 5 years now. The time flies, I am also a co-host on a comedy paranormal show called Beer, Booze, and Boogeymen. We just did a live last night, actually, so I'm all warmed up for you guys. Background is not really heavy into paranormal, not like a lot of you. I thought for a very long time I didn't have these kinds of experiences, and it wouldn't be until after I started my show and getting these shared experiences from people who came on the show. I was like, oh, okay, God, I have experienced this stuff. That's so weird. But I have a background in acting. I was an actor for like 25 years. I started very, very young. And what I'm doing now is I'm just really digging into podcasting as my thing. I love doing it, and just kind of a cool way to meld, my background with performing and then my interest in the paranormal together. And just having a blast doing it.
And you're doing a fine job. You're doing a great job. I love this
Thank
show.
you. Thank you,
I
guys.
love this show.
Damien's on, by the way.
Yeah, Damien's in
He's in
I
chat.
saw that, hey, D.
Melissa, last but not least.
And the most least of all. Mine's the same. I'm Melissa Jones Paranormal. I call myself Melissa Jones Paranormal because it's my name. I've been interested in the paranormal since I was 8. Funny enough, the same as you guys. Seen things when I was younger. Delved into it. Was a bit dark as well when I was in my teenage years, where I started messing around with Ouija boards in graveyards and stuff like that. I had my own personal experience then. My house is haunted as well. Sitting on a graveyard. But basically, I love the paranormal. I love watching it. I've had my own experiences. Have been to places where I've done some paranormal as well, but I haven't put any on my channel yet because I haven't got a computer. So,
but you have an Urbex
I have an airback
you have
background.
a background that's included in there too. So you love exploring a lot of these really,
Exploring,
really
definitely.
cool locations. So
Yes, definitely, 100% with Matthew, the Secret Vault and all that. Yeah, I've been out with all of them. Yeah.
And
And
you've been to some pretty unique and pretty interesting locations that you've kind of done maybe some investigating, but I think you could probably go back and do more.
yeah, they probably could have. Yeah, and the most experience what I did do when I was out doing airbags is doing that grade A EVP, what I caught, which I didn't realise it was there until I got back home, and Steve's analysed it, and it's literally
It's pretty crazy.
phenomenal.
It's pretty crazy. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's basically used to be at college, done art and design, used to be a carer, and yeah, that's my little bit of a background. So that's me. So
awesome. Awesome. That's cool. Thanks guys for sharing all that, obviously. And it's I don't think you guys get enough credit in the paranormal. It's like a lot of fields, and let's face it. I mean, there's a lot of. I don't want to say. I hate saying paranormal influencers, but people, women that really do influence the paranormal field. Maybe good, maybe bad, but whatever. I mean, it depends on how you look at it and how you approach the paranormal. As Michelle mentioned, we're all students. We're all learning still. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 odd years too, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
And he's 31. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly. 1 year. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and yeah, I mean, you're gonna have one thing that I've said for forever is that you need to have a thick skin. You really do need to have a thick skin when you're dealing with this field, and because there are the naysayers. Obviously, I mean, there are the naysayers. There are the debunkers, but I think you need to be skeptical. Period. Right? I mean, we because I mean we are students. We don't necessarily have all the answers, even science. I mean, that's why it's called outside the norm. It's paranormal. It's unknown yet to us in our current I mean, Carla, when you first started getting into the investigative side and that kind of field, I mean, what was your approach? How did you find yourself, in the beginning as opposed to now?
I was really naive in the beginning. Like a lot of it was just exploring, and then I had things happen to me, and it was stuff that I couldn't explain. It was stuff that I didn't have recorded. I just know from my own personal experience. It wasn't till like last year when I started watching the debunkers and the other paranormal investigators on how they actually conduct their investigations, but I go about it a little bit differently. I try not to rely too much on equipment and things. I like just taking something I can record with or a camera. I do use my K2, even though people like to debunk it. I think the paranormal can use any kind of equipment if they want to. If they have enough, in my experience, I've had entities knock things off tables. I've had things break on me. I've had growling in my ear in places that I was just in and it was broad daylight that I couldn't explain. So I guess now I go about it just with like the learning and the knowledge that a lot of people do things differently, things that I didn't even know were out there. But I like to just stick to the basics. Just go back to the basics on things.
I can agree with that.
Building on that, like, your background, as you stated, how does that sort of factor into how you look at, the possibility of, okay, maybe we're dealing with the afterlife?
Yeah. I'm really in tune to energies and my feelings. a lot of gut instincts on where I'm in a location. I try not to base the location off of anything that people have told me, just my own research and what I know that has happened, the history of it and the people that live there. What was I going to say on this one? Just being around the cemetery and how everything's conducted there. I think people have a misperception on certain cemeteries. It depends on who are buried. I don't believe that everything there is haunting it. The one that I worked in was so loved by the people that were laid to rest that I don't feel like anything was haunting it. If anything was there, they may be visiting a loved one. I don't feel that all cemeteries are supposedly haunted just as locations. I think that it's all a misconception, especially with how people have watched like horror movies or different things and how we expect an investigation and how ghosts should act, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think they're all out to scare you. I think there's both good and bad out there.
Yeah, I agree. Kristen, how about you? Like, I mean, I know you aren't as heavy into the sort of investigative sort of aspects, but I mean, how do you find your sort of your journey into this sort of fury? Is it like, sort of like a fledgling hobby turn? Wow, okay, this is a lot bigger than I ever thought it was. I mean, how's your journey been?
It's been really interesting because I feel like where I started was from total scratch. Like every subject that I have tried to attack every single season has been, for the most part, things I didn't either know about to begin with, or I really did not understand until I got into the actual subject. And I was like, oh, I have found myself to be quite a bit more of a believer on more things than I thought I was to start out with. I was far more skeptical at the beginning just because I didn't know. Like, you're going to be that going into a subject that you don't know anything about. You haven't had a personal experience. So I have found that to be an interesting twist on it. But yeah, I don't know. I rely a lot, especially for experiences that I personally have not had. I do rely a lot on gathering as many of those stories and accounts and just firsthand sightings that I can, and compiling them together in order to figure out like what do I think about all of the aspects of this subject. So like something like a firsthand experience with a flying saucer, I'd love to be able to say I believe in that because I've seen it. I'd love to be able to say that, but haven't had that experience yet. But because of a lot of these firsthand experiences that I have collected and just the research that I have collected, and the validity of those, like a lot of these come from folks who have a lot to lose if they lie about it. Like that in itself has led me down a path to think that, yeah, there's definitely something there. There's definitely something to it. I don't need to have that experience myself. So it just depends on the subject as I go through this journey.
But it's like when you pick a subject up, and Alex is going to test because he's been following you as well since the beginning almost. You really dive into it. I mean, you just real thoroughly look at. I need to gather as much information as possible. You do your research, and you really bring a lot of info out there that people may not have a clue about, which is really neat. So that's cool.
Yeah, I try. By the end of it all, like by the end of a season, you don't want there to be any doubt. There is always going to be a little bit of doubt because you can't answer everything, but you don't want there to be any stone unturned.
And for those who don't know, Kristen does season by season, a topic per season.
Yeah.
You got to clarify that, Kristen, because that's what I love about your show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me too.
'Cause you do. It's not just a deep dive in
It's
one.
like a
show.
chapter at a
Yeah.
time.
It's
Mhm.
the whole
It's like a
season.
chapter in this
You
big
really
book.
dive into
Like
that.
Bigfoot,
You-
and then it's
Yeah.
UFOs, and then it's such and such, and
You wanna
Yeah.
you wanna binge listen, yeah.
Yeah. Michelle,
Mm.
yourself. I mean, you've been at it for quite a while as well, and your journey has taken several different avenues. I mean, your look at how things are. Your sort of your vision of the paranormal. Is it, is it the same, or is it matured? I mean, what are your thoughts now? After your journey has sort of evolved.
I find that for me, it's definitely evolved on different levels because, I've spent a good part of my childhood with, a malevolent entity and aging myself a bit. It's like I had to go to the library to get information. Yeah, there was no internet.
Library. What is that?
Holy ancient
Look
God.
at a book.
that is
Yeah,
ancient.
right.
Where's the library these days?
Exactly. So, but as you go through the field, for me, my area of work was primarily around malevolent hauntings, whatever that would entail, whether it would be a malevolent entity, human, non-human, crossover phenomenons, things of that nature, whatever the case may be. Whatever it was that was leading people to think that they were haunted, especially in a very aggressive way, is where I would come in, and I would work with families, to get assessments done. And it's a really hard thing to say to somebody, please get a psychological assessment. And please, I need permission from your doctor to work with you. Especially because if they're on medication, I would always get permission, but I had to make sure that they did not go off the medication. The problem is the medication wasn't working, and they were still having, a lot of things going on. So then you have to explore telekinesis, psychokinesis, different things like that. There's a lot of logical reasons. And, I found it was easier for people to believe they were haunted by something really malevolent than to think they were powerful enough to project energy that could create this phenomenal activity within their spaces. So there was a lot. It's been a journey of evolution. And then, as I go on later in life, I find out, oh, wait, no, you're an ET experiencer. We'd see UFOs all the time. I grew up north. There were no, again, aging myself. There were no satellites, maybe one back then. So if something's zipping across the night sky, chances are, and I mean, I've watched a craft come down one night, it took about 20 minutes. And then there were military helicopters all over the valley the next day. So we knew there was something. I've had experiences with ET, like with extraterrestrials as well. Then I started to question, because like I say, we're all students. I started to question the experiences I was having as a child and a youngster, and then decided, okay, I'm going to talk to my parents about it. Your parents who nobody ever wants to say, yes, all this was going on, because it was like a family secret. Don't tell the neighbors because they'll think we're crazy. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, right? But there's such a crossover of activity. When you look at foul smells, for example, sulfur, everybody's like, oh, it's a demon. Yeah, it's also alien abduction.
Yeah.
Okay, crackling sounds and bright white lights, also alien abduction. Sleep paralysis, aside from scientific reviews, the Hag syndrome, when you're getting to that in the paranormal, also happens in alien abduction. There's so much that is the same with, getting into different ethereal beings, like multiverses. Everything's connected. And when you realize that, and then, my parents say, oh, yeah, we'd see, my dad's like, oh, we'd see UFOs all the time. And I was like, oh, yes, your sister was supposed to be a twin, and just one day she wasn't there. Hello, what? Did you just say to me? That's a thing. So, you really start to explore a lot of that. Paranormal can take you down many different avenues. Like for me, talking about Halloween and talking about, the macabre and things like that. I have an entire collection of antique funeral pieces and church pieces and, taxidermy and human like skulls, and people just like, God, but my house, our haunted house is what everybody wants to film at.
Alex, she's getting too dark for us. I think.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But for some
dark enough.
people, right? Some people, it becomes a persona. And then I think sometimes they get lost in the fact that, it's not just a persona. I worked with dark things, and it affects you in very many in dark ways.
That does explain a lot, though, Michelle.
Doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. So, but it's to me, it's a journey of evolution. I have traveled many parts of the world, and you see how different things are in the way things are investigated, yet how similar they are as well. And I can tell you, at least half of the people I have worked with in the last couple of decades, at least half of them have had ET experiences at the same time, and have had sightings on their home of extraterrestrials, as well as all of this hyped up activity. So which is that? You just have to really dig.
Alex was hit by a flying saucer yesterday in the head.
I won that battle, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Melissa, come on, let's hear it, Melissa.
Oh God, what would you like to hear?
How's it changed? How's your vision? Like your thoughts about the paranormal? I mean, like your vision. Yeah, your vision too. But I mean, how? Like, I mean, when you first, from your first experience to now, like, I mean, how have things changed? The way you think about the paranormal.
I can honestly say I'm a believer.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I'm a believer.
Yeah.
And I think that's only because of my personal experiences and what I've seen and what I've heard. But see, where it's like in the States and Canada and things like that, where you have sightings of UFOs and stuff like that, we don't really get that much in the UK of that type of thing, if you know what I mean. So,
well, apparently, if you know Wiltshire, isn't it? Wiltshire?
What is it called, Steve?
Wiltshire, sorry.
Wiltshire.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm way up north.
Steve has a hard time pronouncing things in Canada. Never mind in England.
Well, it's a Canadian accent, you know.
Yeah, but I could honestly say that I am fascinated with UFOs. Just basically anything of the unknown. I would actually say that that's what I think paranormal is, whether it's spirit, whether it's an alien, whether it's anything. All I know is that there's something there. I've felt so many experiences that it's made me a believer. And it's probably because I did that past as well. Of me delving into doing naughty things, as you do as a teenager. But yeah, just my own personal experiences, not much as investigating as such. I would love to do a proper investigation, but I'd rather have it from my own personal experience than put it out on my channel and stuff like that, especially these days.
I'll be honest, Melissa. You know what? A really good investigator or a person that researches the paranormal very rarely does share it online. You know,
Yeah,
their research is, you know, I think it's changing. Like there are some people out there that are really changing the scope, the landscape. And I'm not talking about paranormal influencers. I'm talking about people who do hardcore research, and they're still there. They take the grassroots approach, and they are in the background. They're in the shadows. They're in the shadows, and
it also depends on what you're doing it for.
Well, there's a particular part of the paranormal. Maybe audio, maybe visual experimentation. There's all sorts
audio,
of,
mine's DVDs. I think that's my go-to. And the old-fashioned way, maybe dowsing rods, maybe a tape recorder.
Give me a reel-to-reel any day.
Yeah,
give me a reel-to-reel. I'll use a reel. I'll go to a graveyard with a reel-to-reel. No.
Oh, I love graveyards as well, so I can see where he comes from about graveyards. I love graveyards. Especially old graveyards. I think they're so tranquil as well. Very peaceful.
They are.
Melissa. Next time next time I come to the UK, we're gonna go to Highgate together.
Yeah,
Highgate.
Highgate. Oh, York. Go to York. You want to see the Viking side of it, don't you, Steve?
York, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Sure.
Or yeah.
You can dress up as a Viking if you want to. I don't mind.
He is dressed up as a he's missing his war helmet there.
I shaved down the horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's just for the show. Just for the show. They'll grow back later.
Yeah, they'll grow back later.
I couldn't imagine how it's this hairy.
the headphones won't hit with the horns on.
Yeah, exactly. Wait a second, I take my helmet off.
Have some of these flaps down each side, yeah.
I can grow the sides.
Oh,
I'll grow the sides and braid it. That's about as far as I go.
Laura, how about you? From your beginnings to now, like how are things changed with the way you look at the paranormal and the landscape?
Oh, a lot, a great deal. Like Michelle said, and like everybody says, that that is in this field, that for the real deal, we're always learning. We're just students. I always say that I'm only a professional of my own experiences, but not the field itself. I've noticed that as time went on, just more and more things would happen, and I kept, wondering why is this? Whatever it is going on. Why is it attracted to me? Why am I having all of these experiences?
Yeah.
And again, back then, no internet, so it was a lot of library time, and trying to figure out what was going on. But it's not just like seeing things, but it was also hearing things. I could be walking somewhere in a certain area or a certain building or whatever, and something would actually say my name in my ear. So I mean, that really freaks you out. Like the first time that you've heard that, I've had that several times happen. Actually, even in my own home, a lot of things go on in my own home, but I won't investigate my own house. I won't break that rule. Because I just don't want to stir up something that I don't want to deal with. But mostly I found out I'm more attracted to cemeteries. The older, the better, because I love the history.
Yeah.
So I love to do the research on the history of the people that are there and what happened in that area. And the EVPs, it's great to pick up something in a cemetery, I've actually sent Steve some where, it was something that called out my name and said it was watching me. So, but it wasn't anything that, you felt that it was evil. It was just kind of reassuring knowing that I wasn't there by myself. But yeah, as time goes on, I'm learning a lot more. That was another reason for the podcast and the magazine that I put together online for everybody. It's because I want everybody to share their information so that I can learn and others can be taught. And I think it's very, very important that we stick to the basics and research and try to get genuine information.
And you do a fine job with that magazine, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that was totally unexpected too. The whole Alex. I know you want to
what
say.
have you done now?
Steve,
I'm waiting for it. No,
I'm not saying anything.
okay. So how about okay? So let's.
How about you then, Steve?
Sorry.
How about you?
How about me?
Do you have an hour?
I think.
Yeah.
I think.
It's about you, ladies. It's not about Steve or me.
Yeah.
I know. We're all here.
I'll just be short, and I'll just say, like Carla said, you're in the beginning. You have experiences. In the beginning, you're kind of naive with a lot of the stuff. You're just learning, and we always learn. But I mean, you learn, and then you make mistakes, but you sort of build on those mistakes, and how you sort of go forth with how you look at the paranormal. And the way I look at it, I think outside the box. I think I always have when it comes to the paranormal. I don't necessarily think the paranormal is about the afterlife. I think we simply call it the afterlife because of tradition dictates it as being the afterlife. Who's not to say it's real life? Who's not to say it's
Or it's all,
a different portion of what we call life? Because we honestly have no answers to what happens to us after we die. But when you look at the metaphysical sort of aspect of life, we are energy. Energy is infinite. It transitions.
doesn't die.
Where does our essence, if you want to put it that way, where does it go? It lives on. Does it go to a different dimension? Does it go back to the multiverse? There's all sorts of the Akashic records. There's all
Yep.
there's all sorts of theories. But I've had a hard time believing that we're dealing with the afterlife. I think we're dealing with a whole different thing that we just truly don't understand, and we don't understand. And we're giving it the terminology to sort of give us a sense of comfort and knowing that look at people don't truly die. They continuously live on. And that may not be your physical sort of aspect, your physical vessel, but your essence lives on infinitely, right? So I mean, are we dealing with a multiverse? Are we dealing with a different dimension? Are we dealing with a whole different sort of aspect that again, like Michelle saying, intertwining, intelligent life forms, outside ours, if you can call us intelligent, right? But now more and more that sort of research is combining, the whole sort of intelligent aspect of life outside of our planet, outside there in the universe, and how it might play into what the experiences that we are having, these encounters. People will say ghosts. Are they ghosts? But are they aliens? Are these these intelligent beings manipulating our thoughts? There's all sorts of theories that you can throw out there.
Could be dimensional bleed through,
Yeah, I mean, none of them are wrong. None of them, not all of them, are right. And that's a part of the learning process, right? And but whatever. That's the way I think about it. Outside the box, and always have, always will.
I can sort of relate to that actually, because I actually believe it could be either human, or it could be an alien, or it could be us, maybe in a different time frame.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. I don't actually just believe it's a ghost, or as people say, spirit. I believe it's energy within the atmosphere.
Well, yeah,
that's what I believe.
We're dealing with frequencies and energy that are constantly, our body's frequency is interacting with the frequencies all around us. And you look at something as simple as music and how it makes us feel. Certain music makes us feel differently. And you take that sort of aspect and broaden it into the sounds that the environment around you make, and things that you hear are things that you may not infrasound, that you may not hear, that we've lost that instinct to understand, to hear infrasound, right? I mean, animals hear it. Animals are bothered by it. It's unseen. We can detect it through machinery, but we can't hear it audibly. So that in itself, infrasound, I believe, is one of the most important areas of research, I think, to truly understand. Obviously things from EVP and so much more. Is it our connection to that so-called Akashic record? It's playing, like we're talking with each other, discussing things right now, and it plays out constantly. It loops constantly, and it never dies. It just keeps going and going and going like an echo, right? in time.
Well, factor in CERN, factor in HARP, factor in all these towers. I mean, they all emit frequencies.
Yeah.
So we are all affected differently by different types of frequencies. We're going to react to that.
Not to
And
mention
it doesn't mean,
satellites.
right? Exactly. I mean, we're
Mhm.
surrounded by those. So if you, whatever is out there is going to come in, it's all energy, world energy. We're all going to react in different ways. You
So
know,
I guess the big question is, if energy doesn't dissipate, just transitions to something else.
Mhm.
The big question is our consciousness go with it?
Mm,
That's
Yeah.
the key question, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm,
You know, our memories, consciousness,
mm.
everything else,
Memories float around.
is
Maybe.
is it stored? Does it go elsewhere? And again, but you look at stuff like, and I don't want to carry too far into this, but I mean, you look at, something simple as deja vu.
Mm.
You're having an experience that
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
so familiar and you can't explain it other than why I've seen that person before, or I've done this before. I- you know, when
Mm.
you're having dreams, very vivid dreams, and you're in a place that seems so familiar, but yet you don't know what it is.
Mhm.
Why are you dreaming that? Right? There's all sorts of theories with that, but
Mhm.
what I want to get into is I want to get into you know uh, you know, being a woman in the paranormal. How has it been? Has it been tough for you guys? Because I know in a lot of areas, it's been hard for women to sort of advance and get people to look at them seriously and so on and so on. But your journeys in the paranormal and people that you've dealt with and associated with, how's it been? Like, has it been tough? Has it been easy? Has it been? Do you feel like you guys are being recognized enough? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Anybody who wants to start?
I've never needed recognition.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not why I went into it.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
started out with somebody who really wanted recognition. It was a dude, actually, and I mean, it was just there.
Yeah.
And I think it does a lot of things. It labels you because you don't have creative control,
Yeah.
right? Therefore, it's like ratings, 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 not truth. Right. So you kind of get labeled in that way. And people actually get very surprised when they realize, no, I don't run around screaming demon, actually. I'm probably your psychokinesis chick
Yeah.
more than anything. But you get labeled. And I think that's been the hindrance. I have been pretty much treated like royalty anywhere I've gone. I've been very fortunate anywhere that I've gone, you know. Honestly, like, I mean, there's some paranormal people out there who really take hard hits. And I remember being invited to an event because I've never had an interest in doing the cons or things like that unless I'm going to support fellow researchers or authors, or I like to go and support. I like to go spend my money, support everybody. That's what I like to do. But I have very little interest in speaking at these things. I think I spoke at like one, and only because it was a friend of mine putting it on, and all the proceeds went to an animal shelter. So I went, yes, I would do it for the animals. That's the only reason. So, that's what I did. And I was, you know what, I was treated so well at this other event I went to in Massachusetts, and it was just so incredible. And I'm just like, I can't really say I've had a rough go of it, but the labeling is really hard. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people get the labeling, and you have to break free of that. And it was one of the reasons I retired. It was just like, you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're all ridiculous. And I have no problem saying that,
Yeah.
to a producer. It's like, so that's for me anyway, has been the biggest problem, the biggest challenge.
Somebody want to build on that or add to it?
Yeah, no, those are great reasons to get into it. Like, you've got to do it for yourself. You've got to do it for some like inner purpose, or because you want the information. Like really great reasons to do it. I would just say, I think I'm the same. Like, if I had gone into it for recognition, like, it would be a totally different story right now. Like, totally different. I wouldn't have made it this far. I guess I would say on my end, like, you want to find your people. Like, you know, when you're doing something like this, you want to find your clique, your people. You want to meet people at your level, and you want that, of course. And I guess I have found that to an extent. I think there's more to go with that, but I have found that. You know, met a couple of assholes along the way who I guess if we want to have that conversation, if we're talking about like women in a field where maybe, you know, women are going to run into assholes. Yeah, I've met them. I've run into them. And that's just a person to person thing. Like I've never felt one time that like, oh, I don't belong here, or I shouldn't be doing this because, you know, for any, you know, weird reason like that. It's just like, no, I met an asshole. Like, that's it. Okay. End call.
That's it. Yeah.
I said sorry.
Trying to save face, buddy.
Let it go. Let it go.
Anybody else want to?
Yeah, same thing. I just don't. I never was looking for anybody's acceptance or approval on what I was doing. Actually, it's been the opposite. Whenever I tell everybody, you know, what I'm doing, they're like really excited and they want to hear all about it, and you know, and the experiences. And I think YouTube is where I got the feeling where, okay, if you're not in with a certain group of people, the people don't want to know you. If you're not in that clique, you know, the people that do, you know, fraudulent stuff or whatever like that, or the drama queens, that I totally don't want anything to do with any of that. You know, the whole purpose of, you know, doing what I do is for myself. And like I said, and then when you're getting on YouTube, it was to share information and to gather information and to be with people who were like me doing the same thing. But as far as, otherwise, no, it's been a really good ride.
The problem I find with this field is that there's a lot of fucking assholes in this field.
Exactly.
And if you're doing it, and if
Mm.
you're doing it for like
Your
Michelle and everybody
channel
else has
and
spoken so far,
sharing.
if you're doing it for recognition, you're hurting.
not
You're gonna be hurting.
Yeah.
Plenty of hurting units out there.
And I think that's what I'm lacking. I'm lacking of that, finding people what are interested in doing this kind of thing, if you know what I mean, because my family don't like me doing this sort of stuff. And friends and stuff like that, mostly like I've festivals and stuff what I do, but never found that click to go out and do an investigation with anybody or anything like that. It's always been like my own experience. My own experience. Besides me when I was a kid, but that's when you know, you're learning, so to speak.
Get Carl to take you out.
I've been out with Carl, you know that. But Carl, as you know, he's very busy. He's all over the world, like, you know. It's all right for some, like, you know. But yeah, it's finding that, because I'm more in with the airbags. And I'll do more airbags than I would do paranormal, but to have that in with it, it doesn't always go that way. If you know what I mean, it never goes that way.
That's what I've noticed, though, Melissa. You know, even though you're doing a lot of urbexing, you do have your experiences, and you do document it.
You mean the hospital one, yeah?
The hospital, you know, and whatever else. I mean, even if it's not you, it might be somebody who you're with that has some sort of, you know, crazy experience that you're trying to, you know, understand.
Oh, well, the only person that can really honestly say what is more really into it, and he's very sensitive, is Brady. Yeah, he's about, every time we go somewhere, we've literally gone to Derby Jail before today. We've all paid to go to Derby Jail. We met Richard Felix from Most Haunted and this, that and the other. We all investigated, and here's me, first time. Wanting things to happen to me, not one thing happened. But it all happened to Brady. All of it did. All of it did. And he even caught it on his video. Voices and breaths down, babies crying in the holding cell. Literally in the room on his own, because I locked him in a holding cell on his own, and we all went outside. and he literally had it right down the microphone at the static camera, and he caught it. I think it's up on his channel actually.
Yeah.
But everything happened to him, and it's me, you know. Oh, great, you know. Thank you very much. Like, you know, because I think I went there more with expectations something was going to happen, and I was a bit disappointed, obviously.
Well, at least we can't call you another ghost returned.
That's my name.
Yeah.
Not stealing my name.
Hello, Ghost Return.
Alex owns the rights to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want a cleansing, never mind. Just call me over. I'll take care of it.
It's fairly easy and it doesn't take long either.
No, it doesn't take long.
I'm saying nothing.
I show up with fishnets, Melissa.
I know.
Oh, no. All right.
Yeah,
that's why they leave.
Yeah.
That's why they leave.
Oh, is that why they leave? Oh, right. You're just seeing people around the tree like this.
Yeah.
The fishnets and a tutu on.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, they're not having any of that.
Yeah, no. They don't want to die a second death. No.
Yeah, you can't unsee that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh wait a sec! The record skipped. Oh no!
Everybody's painting a picture of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Little tutu.
Hey! I charge.
There better be stilettos in there if you charge, man.
There you go.
Are you kidding? He's Italian. Of course there's stilettos.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you imagine him walk around with stilettos on? That would be hilarious.
Melissa, don't start. Don't start.
Me?
Yeah.
No, not me.
How about you, Laura and Carla?
I'm just going to say that I think it's important to stay authentic and true to yourself and what you're trying to do with your work and with your YouTube, and not get influenced and beat down by what you view as successful, because what you're doing is not based off of your views and your growth on YouTube. It is not. Like, I know everybody wants that, but your part in all of this is so important to even just one person that you're reaching out to. And lately I've seen some channels that have been so hurt because they feel like they're stagnant or they're stuck in their little niche, and it's hard to tell them to just keep going, because that's what they're passionate about. If that's what you feel like you should be doing in your purpose, keep going. Your success is not based off of your YouTube channel. And I love what Steve said about putting out your energy and your frequency, your vibrations out there is attracting your people to you. You're not going to have everybody like you. You're going to have some people filter in there, be like, oh, this isn't for me, or they're going to hate on you or whatever. And that's okay. Just let them go, because your people will come to you. What you're putting out in the universe is coming to you. With what's going on. I truly believe that. I feel like what I'm doing with my line of work, there's a thin, and I know we were talking about energy, but your energy doesn't just vanish. I think your consciousness go with it. I don't believe that your memories of this go with you to that part of it, but I think if you come back into a materialistic form, maybe that's where the deja vu and things come into, that you have those certain things or dreams. I do feel that that's part of it, because you're not in your body when you're sleeping completely. I do feel like that we're not completely there all the time. I have premonition dreams. I've had dreams that, like, for example, of my engagement the day before, and I knew what the ring looked like. I know where it was. I knew it was going to be a fake proposal. It wasn't going to be anything to me. And I woke up just bawling. And sure enough, everything played out, and I was like, I don't understand why this is even happening, but it did. And then, like, with my line of work at the crematory, I do see auras, and when I worked at the cemetery, everything was very vivid. Like I can see energy around the trees and plants, not just animals and people. Like animals are such a pure energy form that they like literally glow. And trees I just started noticing in the cemetery, but now that I'm working on the crematory side, there's days when I'm working and just in this routine and I'm almost like in a trance state where I like can see past that veil of like where your eyes are to where the energy is outside of your body. I'll see wisps of it around me. I see things moving around within the building. It's just the most intense thing I've ever, and I think it's just because my energy is so like open to that part of it. And there's some things that I'm closed off to. Like I've never had a UFO experience or alien experience. Like I would like to, but I've never had that because I'm like not maybe that open-minded to it. Like I don't know, but like the energy part and helping people that have passed on. I was with my grandma when she passed away. I saw her energy leave her body. I don't know where it went, but I saw it lift and then it was gone. Like it was this glow around her, the aura around her body, and it just kind of lifted up and then it just disappeared. I was there with her when she passed away, and it was the hardest thing I've ever been through. But I don't think it literally like goes to a different, I'm sure we can go to lots of places, but I don't think it's like anywhere that we can't reach. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And
I
I know how you feel, Carla. I was kind of like that with my mother when she passed away. I kind of went through that sort of moment where you could literally see the transition.
Yeah.
And feel it. And you knew that it was time, for her to leave. So yeah, I know how you feel with that. Totally. We're gonna take our halfway break here. When we come back, obviously more stories. This is good, man. I want to thank you all for coming on tonight. This is cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
This is fun.
It's
I don't know
for me
about
to listen to everybody else, obviously.
Sorry?
It's interesting for me to listen to everybody else's stories all in one go.
Well, we're interested in your stories too. Come on, you got stories too, Melissa. Come on.
When have you ever noticed me to be very shy? I've thought like
never. You're not shy.
No.
You're not shy.
I'm quite quiet, actually. I'm sitting here like Mrs. Goody Two-Shoes.
Melissa and quiet are not synonymous.
No. God, no.
All right, then I'm going to let loose after the break.
There you go. Let it all out.
Let it all out.
Stuff like this helps, Melissa? You know that.
Yeah.
I know.
That's part of the ghost deterrent.
Yeah.
Wait a sec. No, it invites spirits.
Not that kind of spirit.
All right.
Pun intended. All right, guys. If you're listening to us on the New Visions Radio Network, we'll be right back. And of course, we'll be right back here on our YouTube channel. Don't go anywhere. You're watching and listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. In case you didn't know. Oh, wait. Did they know? I don't know. But we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
They don't know.
No.
Good evening. I'm Richard Palmisano, the founder of the Searcher Group. It's a paranormal company, the oldest in Canada. I founded in 1979, which not only makes me old, but makes me doing paranormal research and field work for just under 45 years now. I am also an author, researcher, and lecturer on the paranormal. I've written 6 books now. And I really enjoy coming on with Steve and Alex on Nocturnal Frequency Radio, as well as listening to the shows, because there's a lot of interesting guests there. I like it, looking at this stuff, because it opens your mind to other options and other alternative thoughts. And, there's always time to learn new things. So I hope you join us and come and see Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Thank you.
So let me ask you, what makes for good radio?
My 5 favorite songs, all day long.
Play it again.
No.
As many commercials as physically possible.
What? No, why would that be good?
Great music, great talk shows, no commercials!
Precisely. New Visions Radio gives you no commercials, no nonsense, just the best new music and the best talk all day long, 24/7, 365. NewVisionsRadio.com.
Hey guys, Kristen here, host of the Paranormal Girl podcast, a bingeable exploration and deep dive education about the paranormal for the skeptical believer. Some of my past season topics have included shadow people, Mandela effect, demons, and UFOs. Currently, I am tackling Bigfoot. I have been sharing this journey with my audience since early 2021, and I have learned a lot these last few years. It's truly a mysterious world out there beyond our perceptions, and reality is just not what it seems. I have also, since the start, met some awesome folks like Alex and Steve, and I've really enjoyed watching and learning from them and also joining them on their show. Their guests are always outstanding, their listeners are just the coolest, and these hosts are some of my favorite people. I recommend their show to anyone looking for an intelligent and fun conversation about the paranormal amongst friends. So join me on my investigation, join Steve and Alex on theirs, and enjoy. Now back to the show. You are watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
That you are. Welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. And
We need an update to that, Kristen.
well, you know, I was just thinking that since we have Kristen on too, she's probably going, "Oh my God, that's so old. We need to update that."
It's a couple seasons ago. I'm sorry, guys. I'll get on it. Okay. I was so young, so fresh, so untainted.
we
have we corrupted you yet?
We tend to do that. We corrupt people in this.
Yes. You guys are the only source of corruption in this paranormal journey of mine.
Excellent. We've done our job.
It's so and let's talk about journeys. I mean, when we started this show in 2008, and the people that are still associated with the show outside of us that still come on the show, we're like, wow, what a difference.
Justin, just to name one.
Or Justin, yeah.
Or Justin, yeah. We always harp on him.
Yeah. I mean, you constantly have to play the clips when they're. It's like Alex. When Alex would call into the show. He would call into the show, and listening to Alex, I wanted to. We should play it.
Oh fuck.
We should
just so you know, Steve liked it so much he asked me to be a co-host.
Yeah.
This is the call. This is the call that did it.
I was talking about orbs.
Oh boy.
See, look at everybody's like, oh fuck.
Talk about naive, right? Talk about naive.
I don't think all orbs are fake.
Huh?
No. Nope.
Sorry, what was that?
I don't think all orbs are fake.
A good chunk of them are.
I think if you see them visually, if you see them visually, I think, but I think a lot of video and photography are environmentally based, and not being from a trained background in photography, but yeah, I mean, I there are ones that kind of defy logic, and I think for the most part, those are the ones that you really see with the naked eye. I mean, I'm not, who knows? I mean,
I've never
again,
seen one.
you've never seen an orb?
Not a proper orb, no.
Oh, visually.
Myself personally, no. No.
Carla, I agree with you. I don't think they are all fake. I don't.
No.
I think like capturing them on video or photo, though, it is so easily explainable as something else. Like it just gets so difficult. But like, like Steve said, like if you see it with your eyeballs, like I don't think they're all fake.
The problem is the proliferation.
There's a
of
lot,
photos. Initially, there's not as much now because there's a stigma attached to that now.
Well,
what would you class as an orb, though? What would you physically class an orb to be like, and how would you explain how it's supposed to move? Because other people have different theories, don't they?
Well, they do.
Different colors.
I mean, if you want to look, if you want to look at the sort of the orb phenomenon, how it began, technically, you always go back to Coast with Art Bell, and when the point and shoot digital cameras first started coming out, people were experiencing the orb phenomena, so it exploded. Because people are like, what is this? I don't get this. What is this? And it was like, in taking a shot in the rain, taking a shot in the snow, taking a shot in the fog, just whatever. And because with digital point and shoot cameras, it was so easily accessible to review your photos right away, as opposed to film cameras.
Right.
Yeah. Film cameras, I'm not saying there wasn't a thing. It was very ultraly rare with film. With film, it was very rare to capture orbs on film, but digital, it blew right out of proportion, just crazy. And like a lot of things in the paranormal, people ran with it and exploited it to the nines. And that's why it's gotten its bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, because it again, like a lot of things in the paranormal, the wrong people got a hold of it and ran with it.
Like Bigfoot.
Like Bigfoot, yeah. Like Bigfoot. Like anything. Like anything.
I'm going to pull a face to that one.
Yeah. I'm not talking about my feet, Melissa. I'm talking about Bigfoot.
Right. Well, I was going to say.
Speaking of orbs, here we go. Here's Alex's very first time on the show. What was this? 2008? 2000.
Yeah, around there.
Why don't we begin with the controversial orb topic?
Sure. Hey, what a way to start the show. Let's do it.
I thought we'd start with a bang.
Yeah, of course. Well, go ahead, Alex. Orbs. What do you think they are? Discuss.
Why don't we begin with the controversial orb topic?
So is it a repeat?
No, it's just a short clip anyway. But yeah, there you go. The very first time he was on the show, and that was like,
as you could tell, I had very good quality audio.
Controversial then, controversial now.
Yeah.
Man.
Actually, the audio was probably better then than when you were on the show. Because when you were on the show, you sounded like you're underwater.
That's because I think I called in. I called in to your number using an actual phone.
Yeah.
When I started doing the show, I had that stupid cheap ass headset, mic, whatever. It sounded like I was talking underwater.
You'd be like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. You sound like you're breathing bubbles underwater. Yellow Submarine.
The only real thing I can actually honestly say which one I did actually believe was Ghost Adventures of Cornwall's or Phenomena he had in the graveyard by Wargrave. And he was live in the moment, and I was actually in the chat when he was seeing it, and it was like an amber color, not an amber color, it was like a light yellow, and it was a ball of light, like that size, and it was just literally floating around in front of the camera, really, really slowly, and it wasn't a torch, because he was literally in the graveyard on his own. Because he always used to go out on his own and do investigations by where he lived in a graveyard, and he always used to catch phenomena live in the moments, like that peeking thing round the door he caught that time when he showed everybody on the stream. If you remember that one.
I think I do remember that one.
And that was literally in the moment. It was like something, he'd walked down this corridor and there was another 3 people behind him, and it was just a corridor with like a few doors either side, and it was a door to his left side, and literally it was like something popped his head round like that and went back again, and he rushed straight into that room, and it was just a bare room and a bare wall, so it was nowhere anything could have run or anything, and it was clear as day. We all seen it. We were like, what the hell is that? And thank God I kept hold of it on my list, because he couldn't find it for ages. And I resent it him. He was like, oh, thanks for sending me that. But he's always caught things live in the moment. And he always documents it. And that's the only real one I could really say what actually shocked me when he was in the graveyard on his own. Seeing that all by graveyard. It was just like...
Yeah. You'd
have to see it, wouldn't you? You'd have to see it.
Well, there are incidents where that does happen. Absolutely. I would never downplay that. I mean, it does happen. And I'm always of a skeptical mind, but it doesn't matter what I can have the skepticism, but it doesn't mean that it isn't what it is.
It isn't. It is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. It just means that I like to look
You
further
like to
into
be there and see it.
I like to look further into it, right?
Yeah. Me too.
I mean, I've seen some, really weird things that just don't, kind of jive. Like I've mentioned a few times, the time we were doing some work with the town of Milton, by the way, Michelle, the historical society there, and they're doing research on a small little pioneer cemetery up there, and it was abandoned. Literally, the city wasn't taking care of it, and it just laid in ruins, and it was really a sad situation. But I remember it's up on top of a hill, and I remember going up there late. We went up there late to do some audio work, and walking up there, and it was a little, heavy fog. And the only light was a street light down below that would cast, through the fog a bit. And I remember, snapping some photos as we go up the hill and walking, and then we decided to split. 2 of us went into the corner, one corner, the far corner, and the other 2 went to the front of the cemetery. And this is only a very small place, extremely small. Again, this was an old cemetery that started off with one family in the late 1700s. And it grew to, as the town grew, more and more people, but still it was in use until about 1923, before it laid to ruins. But again, we split up, and I'm snapping some pictures, and I'm reviewing as I always review the photos as they take them. And I was noticing an anomaly, and I'm like, what the heck? So there's 2 people in front of me. I'm snapping the pictures, but there's only one person in the photo. Okay, so what's going on? This does not make any sense at all. Snap another photo, same thing. And I originally thought, okay, there's only one person in front of me. Why am I seeing two people? There's two people here, right? There's the person I know who's in front of me, and then there's somebody in between us. So I call out to the guy I know who's there, who's in between us, because somebody's here. Where's so and so? He's at the front of the cemetery. Okay, so who's in between us? I haven't got a clue. And as we're trying to figure that out, it took a beeline towards the far corner of the cemetery and completely disappeared. And I'm like, okay, what did I just see? Because okay, it's the fog, it's the fog, it's shadows, it's okay, we need to recreate this. I did I just see what I just saw? So we backed up, came back up again, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's my shadow casting on the light through the fog, right? Thinking, okay, it's something like that. So we did exactly the same thing, snap pictures, blah blah blah. Couldn't do it. Did not turn out the same way. So how do you explain that, right? I mean, like it's like these unexplainable events that happen, but it's a personal experience. How do you explain it?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I had a similar thing happen. We have a local story here. It's called Star Hill. And any teenager who's heard about it has been up on this hill. And you would park your car up there at the top and wait until it got really late. And this ball of light would just appear in the middle of the road. The story is either it was back in the 1800s, a doctor had passed on his way home during bad weather, carriage accident. We're thinking it's him, or it could belong to somebody that is in the cemetery that is like down the road in the middle of nowhere in the woods. But this ball of light will show up and moves up and down this road. And anytime you'd pull out a camera or something or try to document it, it would just disappear. So I'm hoping maybe this year I might be able to get up there and sneak and catch something. But it's a pretty famous story, and it moves, and it just hovers, and it will grow in size. And I've also have heard that it has changed color. That I haven't seen, but when I've seen it, it was just a brilliant white light about the size of a softball, and then would get almost to the size of like
football,
maybe like a dinner plate, a little smaller than a dinner plate, and then just disappear. So what is that? Just an orb, or is that I don't know. I just don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I mean, I know a lot of people who have experienced orbs that can be explained as ball lightning. A lot of people have never ever experienced ball lightning. And quite literally, it's energy, like literally vented up and literally circular, and it floats until it just completely like zaps. It's the craziest thing. If you look online, look at YouTube or whatever else.
I have seen them.
And it's the craziest thing, because if you had never seen something like that before in your life, you'd automatically think it's paranormal, right? I mean, okay, but that's what I mean. A lot of things may be explained by some people who know or in the know, who might be an expert in a certain field, but to most people, it's like, what just happened? And sometimes that's all it takes, somebody explaining that situation. I'm not saying that's always the case, because there's a lot of phenomena that people can explain still.
Well, I'll share one with you. I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have all the girls in here too, not just you guys. Okay, so like we had a haunted manor, right? A little Gothic revival manor house, right? It was empty for about 5 months because we're at the Burlington House. And on New Year's Eve, our cameras started picking up. No, let me back up a minute. The house had no forced air. It had radiator heating. No one had been in it for 5 months, and no bugs, nothing like that. So New Year's Eve. The house was built for the woman of the house, right, and the family, for her to entertain in. So starting at about a few minutes after 4 p.m., the cameras just start going. And I'm just like, all right, well, that's weird. Didn't pay it any mind. I'm just going, okay, whatever. So there's activity. The house is haunted. We expect it. Only we've never really had it before. This is the first time. And it went on. There were orbs, sometimes doubles, coming out of the chandeliers, swooping around, going into the mirrors, coming across the parlor, shooting off just right through the dining room. Others are going into one of the side rooms. It was like non-stop. And sometimes it had faces, sometimes not. Sometimes it'd go up into the lights out of the mirrors. And at probably 2 minutes after midnight, everything stopped and it never happened again.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm like freaking save video for 8 freaking hours.
Somebody want to try a crack at that one?
Yeah.
Explain that one.
I am open to, my logical brain says, what? Yeah. I can't.
I've never seen
I
one
got nothing.
with my eyes, but I've seen it in
with my
cameras.
bare eyes. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
I was 24 and I stayed at the Fairweather Inn in Virginia City, Montana. It's a home that was owned by an elderly lady that they changed into a small motel for tourists to stay in overnight. My boyfriend and I at the time decided to book a room there. It was weird because when we entered that room, on the left side of the room, there was a sink and a mirror. I don't like mirrors. I just think they're a way for things to reveal themselves. It freaks me out. So I'm glad it was on that side of the room. The bed was facing a wall, and across from the bed was a vanity dresser with a mirror that you could see that the sun and weather warned where it originally was, but they moved it next to the bed, which I was fine with because I didn't want a mirror facing me while I slept on the bed. So over on that vanity next to us, I put down a piece of paper and a pencil, and I said, if anything wanted to communicate with us tonight, there's a pen and paper. They were welcome to use it. And during the night, we stayed up just watching. And around 10 p.m., it wasn't late. Over on the left side, there was a corner closet, and I saw this little ball of light come from the closet, cross the room. I did take a picture of it. I did get one picture. It was a 35 millimeter camera. That orb moved over to that paper, glowed really bright, like it was trying to do something, and then it was gone. And I had no other activity that night, but I watched it move across the room. It was the most, like, I couldn't explain what was going on, but I saw this ball of light cross the room like it was trying to do something and then disappeared. It was
Very
the
cool.
only like true orb experience I've ever had.
Wow,
So I don't disbelieve orbs. I just think that a lot of people capture things on, like you said, light anomalies and dust and things, and want it to be an orb captured on film. But with my bare eyes watching it cross the room, it's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. So I don't disbelieve orbs.
It's like I said, it's like there's different like types of orbs that I've seen. There's orbs with faces in, skulls, faces inside them, which is like, obviously resemblance of death, obviously. There's wispy ones what I've seen on people's cameras where it's like got like a little tadpole tail to it.
Yeah.
Like a little like trail behind it. And I've seen them bouncing around. And I've also seen like little dots of little tiny flickers of white light, just like little flickers, like in a room, or if I even found it in a field where it's literally, well, to be honest with you, it's actually the festival's called On Board the Craft. And that's where we always used to see orbs in the field on Board the Craft. Whether you think that is like a sign or something, I don't know. But we always used to see like loads of them all over the field, and it's always at night time. Now you could put that down as your camera, taking pictures, or maybe if it was rain, it could be like, rain flats on your camera or whatever. But no, this would be a clear night, sunny night, dead warm, and you just take a picture of the field and you just see them all, but they're all like joined together, you know, like loads of bubbles, but like see-through, but like with a ring around it, if you know what I mean. But there'd be loads of them all over the field, and that's the only thing I've seen, but never seen it with my eyes. I would love to see one.
Yeah, it's like I said, seeing it with your naked eyes, it's just it's to me it's a thing of wonder. It really is to see the motion, and I'm not talking about I had something happen here. And
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that here,
I remember
and
that.
I've had a lot of incidents happen here in this room alone. That's been.
Has everybody seen that, by the way?
Sorry?
Has everybody seen that on here?
I don't think everybody's seen it. Let me just see. Hold on.
It was weird. It had a face to it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I reserved, but I mean it's interesting. Let's see.
Told you it's that box.
And put some funky music to it. Listen to this. There's ways of transferring the sound into an audible sort of frequency. And a friend of mine had wow, that was cool. Did you see that?
Oh, I saw that.
You guys see that?
That was live on stream as well.
And normally I would say dust.
That was just a light reflecting off his bald head.
Yeah, that too,
But that you caught it with your bare eyes.
Yeah. It was live. I seen it as well. I went, whoa, what's that?
There's no
Awesome.
That gave me chills. I am.
Oh. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
So I mean, like normally I'd say dust. That would be my first thought, and I said to myself after reviewing it over and over again, and knowing that the windows weren't open, the heat or AC whatever was not going. So how do you explain the trajectory of that, the movement of that?
It came up
exactly.
It literally came up and just
you.
behind me and then over, right?
Over. He was live. All of us seen it on the live stream.
Well, and the shape of it too. Like when you
Yeah.
talk
To
about
me,
like
it looks like a
orbs,
face.
it's not an orb. Like it's such an interesting shape.
To me, it looks like a face when it goes over the hell picture. It looks like it's got some sort
But
of
I
face.
see when I hear that, I automatically think, okay, I just think of pareidolia, right? I mean, like you're seeing a face, but I'm not saying that's what it is. But I'm just saying it's an oddity. I leave it open. It's an oddity. It's because of the experiences that I've had here. It just adds to it.
Yeah,
and
told you it's a box you bought.
Yeah. I bought an old. I don't know if I can show you. Hold on. I bought an old army chest in Michigan, Frankenmuth, Michigan, from World War I. And ever since I bought that and brought it home, some weird shit has gone on.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some
like
weird stuff.
like CDs and LPs or whatever it is, or DVDs. All
So
over the
yeah,
place.
I was using it for storage of some DVDs that I had up here before, and I came up to the studio one afternoon, and the DVDs that were in the chest were all nice and neatly piled on my studio desk here.
No.
And I go to my wife. I said, did you do this? You're playing a joke? She's like, what are you talking about? And I showed her. She's like, I never did that. I go, okay, unless somebody broke into our house. How did that happen?
And rearrange stuff. Yeah, that's
like what films has he got?
Yeah. So,
right. Let's
so yeah.
Let's not get into that, Melissa.
Yeah.
That's not in the chest, Alex.
Well,
No.
it's for the after show.
I'll be honest. One of the DVDs was an old one that has Carla has that background there of Freddy's Claw. I'm just kidding. No, it wasn't Freddy's Night. But no, it things like that. Like I said, I have this. I don't have it handy, but I have this little lapel light. LED light has 2 LED lights on it, and you have to pry it open for the lights to go on. And this thing was never. It hadn't been working for years, right? And I just left it up here, and then one night I was coming up the stairs, and there was a light in here, and I'm like, what the hell? I don't remember leaving a light on in here. Yeah, I come in, turn the light on, and here's this thing wide open with the lights on. And I close it, open it up, lights didn't work. Kept doing it, lights wouldn't work. I'm like, what the hell?
And this was after you had brought this chest into the studio, or was this just another occurrence?
That one was before the chest.
Okay, so your studio is you've got an object in there, dude.
Well, what's interesting about it? I think in that the house itself, like I could tell you so many we were away on holidays. We came back after being away for a week, and I usually just unplug everything because you never know, fire, whatever. I'm just that type of person. I gotta unplug everything. And as soon as we unpacked, got in the door, no sooner than I closed the door, somebody's at my doorbell. I open the door, and it's my neighbor. And my neighbor's like, are you guys just getting in the door? And we're like, yeah. What's up? Was there anybody here last night? No, there hasn't been anyone here for a week. Why? Because it sounded like you had a party going on in here. And I'm like, what party? Yeah. The music was blaring. It was literally blaring. And I'm like, blaring music, what the hell? Yeah, my husband had to come over. He was ringing the doorbell, knocking, and I go, were the lights on? No. So I could not explain to you where that was coming from. So like I've had a lot of weird, but like I said, I did a little bit of research on the land itself where this is actually where the house is now. And it's part and parcel to the web series that we've been doing, the Dark Woodlot. And the Dark Woodlot, the woodlot in question, is on the same plot of land, just over more. And again, there's some really weird shit going on over there. But anyways, yeah, there's definitely something going on. But what it is, it's just a matter of trying to figure out what it is.
Keep on telling him it's haunted. Like, yeah.
Well, they knew you were gone. It
What
was
would you
party at
call that
Steve's
then?
house.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah.
Oh, they're up to
sort-
see them all raving like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting it off quick, he's going home. Quick, turn it off.
so Michael's asking. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention there.
Yeah, I was asking if you think it, in a nutshell, if you think that it's the spirit of associated with the box that you brought home.
It could be. I mean, do I believe in objects being haunted? I don't necessarily believe in maybe the object itself, but maybe the energy the object has. Maybe. Can sort of mingle into what's going on already here. I don't know, but you never know. Like again, I like everybody else. You can say what you want, but the answers aren't there, and you can just sit there and wonder and go, okay, well, I live here. What do you want me to do? Let's have a seance and scare the shit out. No, that wouldn't scare them. That would invite them in. What the hell?
That's what we got to do. We got to do a seance at your house, Steve, on your birthday.
I'm sure my.
Is there any
wife would love
history that came with the box, Steve?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's why I said World War One. You think about all the trauma and all the death and all the energy built around that.
But that could, of course, just be just the energy. Like it's a horribly traumatic, event.
Yeah.
I mean, I found this old, like this antique place in the middle of. If anybody knows anything about Michigan, this is in between Flint and Saginaw. It's about halfway. There's a small little town called Frankenmuth, and it's quite literally called Little Bavaria. It's literally, when you go to this place, it's like you're in a whole different world, because Flint, how rough and tumble Flint is, how rough and tumble Saginaw is. It's hard to believe that this quaint little town is sitting in between these two places. But just outside, there's this little antique place, and when you walk in there, man, there's I'm talking about Civil War shit, Confederation stuff. There's all sorts of weird I'm talking about, and price wise, you're like, wow, they're giving this stuff away. But yeah, so I saw this little chest and I go, wow, that's pretty neat. I don't know if I can.
I think things definitely could have energy. When I went to Romania, I had I can't tell you how many people bring me back some soil for the haunted forest. I'm like, okay, I'll smuggle it back. I'll do it. Right. I'll take one for the team. I did. Some people had no issues and other people had reported really bad issues.
I'm still jealous that you got to go there.
Want some soil?
I said, I'm jealous that you got to go there.
I bought lots of soil back. I'm terrible. I am so ridiculous with rocks and bloody soil.
Oh, me too. I love rocks.
Right?
I like rocks. I like crystals.
Try going to Canada, though. You're not allowed to bring it back in. So I have to smuggle everything. My
wine. Really? You're not allowed to bring anything like that back in Canada?
No.
Oh, they're strict. Canadian border is ridiculous.
I know.
Does it work in Australia?
You just got to know where to hide it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can't exactly hide soil anywhere, really.
She filled her boots.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to now.
I got to tell you, Alex, if you're hiding,
a lot taller than he was when she left. I don't know.
if you're hiding them in your fish nest, you're not going to hide very well.
Yeah.
Oh God, you wouldn't be able to get it fish next to be leaking. Pouring out the holes, isn't it?
It's like a filter, right? Filters out all the bad dirt.
Unless you wear a pair of tights underneath it, maybe so. Pair of tights and a pair of fishnet.
That's smooth.
Yeah.
I told you I was going to be drunk by the time the show ended.
You don't have to worry about shaving your legs anymore.
You don't have to go anywhere if you drink. You only go like that and get it and then bring it back.
So yeah, that's basically the fun I've had with that. But I mean, have you guys had any incidents where you think maybe an object is maybe haunted or has some?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
move.
I don't
Yeah.
want to go first. Somebody else go first.
Michelle?
People give me haunted stuff all the time, and I get it.
Yeah.
It turns out it's not haunted, but it's cool stuff. I'll hold on to stuff for, like 2-3 years, and then I say, okay, if you want it back, come take it back. Otherwise, it goes to Habitat for Humanity. Which is where it goes. It goes for donation. Make sure there's nothing there. The only piece I kept 2 pieces. One was a skull, a phantom skull. So it was in glass, essentially, just molded glass. And it came out of a collection, a Russian military collection, along with a handgun, an officer's handgun. And both the guy swore up and down, activity. And that freaking thing sat on my desk for 3 years. I just threw a baseball cap on it. And nothing ever happened. So it's just like, I think people get wicked out by things. But I have purchased items not because I thought they were haunted, but from other countries and such that would move around on their own and such. Again, you have to attribute that to it's moved. You're the only one in the house. And it's in a different spot and kind of wondering how did it get there? But I'm not seeing it myself move.
Yeah, me
right?
too. Mine was at night time.
Yeah.
When I was asleep.
Yeah.
Mine was alive.
I have crazy old pieces, crazy old collections. If anything's going to be haunted, I've got a coffin, an Oddfellows coffin that like a toe pincer from like 1854. You expect anything to happen, it's going to be that.
Oh, right.
No, nothing.
The creaking of the
the door opening.
I was at home before for a long time. I got crazy things, but now it's just like,
Isn't that where you sleep at
downsized
night?
twice.
Like that.
Is that where you sleep in the coffin?
I had a casket that I did. I hit on my kids once, because everybody's looking for me. It's like, I got like an hour nap. It was glorious. But I've since sold, like a good chunk of it. I do have quite a few antique pieces left, though, of that. But you don't keep it all. I've downsized twice, and I have 3 storage units.
Oh my goodness!
The other half is like, please do something.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff that moves around their own. Some of it's very questionable, but again,
Hey, wasn't this on the other storage unit the other day?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know.
Hotel 3 storage unit. Wow.
I've got 2 pieces leaving in the next week, actually. So sorry, Melissa. There was a delay from
Nothing else to say. 3 storage units. Jesus Christ, I think I've got half a cupboard and I get moaned up for having a load of crap. half a cupboard.
Well, we used to film at our house, though, right? So we would have a lot of stuff on display because people would want to come and film, and it was just because it was part of the house.
Yeah.
Big house, lots of room equals fill it. But then downsize
for more.
Yeah. So, you guys are familiar, Steve, Alex, with the Kingston Penitentiary.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I ended up getting an entire collection from the Oddfellows in Kingston, and all of their furniture was made from the prisoners.
Oh wow.
On a rehab program from the prisoners at the Kingston Penitentiary. So the Oddfellows left, right? They closed up because they were as old as Methuselah, but just darling men.
Yeah.
And that would be in the U.S. It would be like a version of, I guess, the Freemasons. So they had all kinds of stuff there, and then of course the penitentiary closed down. So it's got some really nice historical value, and the thrones that came out of there, which is why I wanted them, but had to take everything. And when you got there, there were 10 like 12-foot solid oak benches that took like 5 people to lift. And I realized I think I have to go rent a truck. out here. Well, like 4 hours away. But the Grand Master's throne is probably about like 8 feet tall. They're all one of a kind because they were all hand carved. So you look at, it would have had somebody in that program, a prisoner who did this like he was like an artisan. When you look at these things, are not just carved furniture. There are faces and there are links all made out of wood and put together, and just unbelievable workmanship.
That came from Kingston?
It sure did. It went
Wow.
to the Oddfellows, and they couldn't lift anything. A guy, we get there. There's this one guy pulling his oxygen tank along behind him and going, we're not getting any help, are we? No.
Have you taken a tour at Kingston Pen?
I haven't, and yet one of the Oddfellows, the person I was dealing with, is a guide there because I do the tours out here. I'm like,
yeah.
So I do need to take advantage of that.
So my wife and I did the tour shortly after they launched the tour plan. Like they started doing it, and that's when they still had a lot of the furniture, if you want to call it that, still present because they hadn't moved it out. We did it again another time a few years after, and a lot of the stuff was gone, especially in the library and whatnot. Right?
It's in Michelle's house.
What's that?
Michelle's got it.
Yeah. It's all in Michelle's house. It's in a storage unit. Like, jeez. But the one thing they wouldn't tell us was which wing Bernardo was in.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the rest of your panel won't know who Paul Bernardo, or you might know who Paul Bernardo is, but he was a serial rapist. Scarborough rapist, and then he also ended up killing a couple of young girls as well. But yeah, he was housed at Kingston Pen, and when we went there, we wanted to know where, and they wouldn't tell us. Those fuckers. Because they were citing security reasons.
I'll just ask you.
Security reasons. I'm like, but the fucking jail is closed.
Right.
He's at a different location now. He's at Millhaven now. Why can't you tell us where he was here?
Yeah.
Sensitive information, buddy.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Because you can find out where he is now.
I actually went forward and applied to have a proper investigation in there.
Yeah,
I don't think they allow you.
Actually, they do. They do allow you. Unfortunately, because when I applied, and I talked to I forget what her name was in the government there. She takes care of all that stuff. She was saying that because they're doing some renovation work there, they weren't allowing people at that time to come in there. But they do allow. There's a criteria that you have to sort of pass, basically. And literally, if they know you're like a YouTube influencer, they'll say no.
Right.
They'll say no, absolutely not. But if they know you're a proper investigative group, you investigate for research purposes and so on, then they kind of like let their guard down a little bit and say yes.
So that's the reason why we didn't get in, right?
Well, they see this gentleman. He was like the Oddfellow guy. He does the tours there, and he said, he goes, "Oh, I could get you in to do some tours."
Yeah.
So like a private tour is what I was trying to get. So if I do, I can most certainly let you know. But you see, back in the day, the warden and all the guards were Oddfellows. So which is why the prison was commissioned. I mean, the trees came in, everything got planed, everything was done right on site. These things still have the original horsehair. But when I donated the 10 benches, very ironically, one of the nuns' convents ended up with 6 of them.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, that's quite unusual. You're welcome. Yeah. So that was very, a little bit different, considering it's like a, supposed to be like a secret society sort of thing. And the nuns have them with all the symbolism and everything.
Yeah.
Even if you pluck it off, you'd have to restain everything. Like they're embedded right into the wood. Really well done. So I know.
That is cool.
That's pretty cool.
Kristen, you had a little story there too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Thought you were gonna forget about me.
No.
No, it's the dumbest. It's the dumbest story. I hope
It's
we all
never
know
dumb.
this.
Never dumb.
Well, okay. Well, just coming from somebody who I don't really like believe, quote unquote, in like haunted objects per se. Like I think like energy, yes, can be affecting an object. Sure, absolutely. But as far as like a ghost attaching itself to an object, I don't know. That
Like
being
it's a
said,
stretch. It's a
that
stretch.
being said, I've had a haunted object. So a couple of seasons ago, I had this buddy hop into my circle, and we got to talking and like really good friends. And he was like, at one point, he was like, "Hey, you know, I hear you're going to be like looking at ghosts. I have a haunted doll." And I'm like, okay. He was like, "Do you want it?" I'm like, "Yes, send me the haunted doll." And he did. And not really think anything of it, whatever. Like this guy did not front load me about what this thing could do. And he was like, just be prepared. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. So sorry if I was distracting. I was trying to find the picture on the side, but I just wanted to show you guys if you can see it.
Oh yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is Lucky. That is Lucky. He's a Seattle Seahawks kind of like, you know, like icon doll or whatever for the team. So he sent me this doll, and he sent it to me in like a backpack, like packed with some other stuff. And we did an unboxing video. I had Lee like videoing me like during this unboxing, and the whole time I'm just like, yeah, blah, whatever. Like she's the video kept cutting us off. I couldn't find the video. Lee's got it on his phone, but like kept just stopping out of nowhere, like stopped recording. So we had to keep like re-upping it like 3 times to do this video. So that was one thing. About a week into having this doll, and I had him sitting right there in my studio just behind me for like a week. And at the end of the week, he was gone. He was out because strange things kept happening. And it was just too coincidental. And I'm not one to just fuck with energy. Like, I'm not going to do that. But like, you know, light bulbs just suddenly started burning out all over my house. The cat got sick. The cat started like coughing just out of nowhere, got sick. Like, and my cat is my baby. And then like the thing that tipped me off, it was the weirdest thing. But one day I walked up to Lucky and I was like, look, Lucky, if there's something going on here, if you're in there, if you don't like being here, you need to give me a sign. And before I could finish the word sign, I got a text on my phone. And it was somebody saying something about, I don't know, something just random, but it was just like, okay, I'm going to take that as a sign. So this is actually a picture of Lucky in my car, seat belted in on his way to his new home, which is
not so lucky. So lucky.
It's my office, because I wouldn't feel like okay about giving him to somebody, you know, just random, but like he's happy at my office. Nothing bad has happened since he's been at my office, like nothing weird. So that is where he resides now.
Wow.
So as far as haunted objects are concerned, like I guess I still don't know, but like there is something to it, because I felt like there was a lot of stuff.
But if you have a haunted house, right, you have spirits to stay behind because they love their house. Could they not feel the same way about a specific item?
Yeah.
Right?
Is a house not an object?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for sure. Yeah.
Food for thought.
Wayne has a question there, Alex.
He does. Are any of you non-believers of the paranormal? If so, why? Vice versa for the believers. Don't all talk at once.
I'm a believer.
I'm a believer.
Definitely a believer. Yeah.
I'm a believer as well.
I've
For
had
the
too many
most
things
part.
happen to me personally, like
Me too.
that I believe it 100%.
I could say 100% really as well. Really.
100%. I'm a believer in many things because I'm an experiencer of many things. So
there are only a few things that I do not believe, but it's only because I haven't found enough evidence yet. Usually I find once I dig into something and see the evidence and see what people are saying, kind of hard to deny sometimes, but there's only a few things that I don't.
Like a haunted object?
Ectoplasm.
I'll say it for you, Kristen. Yeah.
Ectoplasm, exactly.
Ectoplasm. I can't. What is that? What is it even?
I have one little quick story about ectoplasm. I was at an extremely haunted location, and nobody had been in there overnight. I went in the next morning, and there was stuff on the table, and it was just all like. That was I don't want to say what it looked like, but it was gooey and it wasn't. But anyway, it was like gel, and within about an hour, it all crystallized, and it just looked like icing sugar. I don't know if it was that ectoplasm. I don't know what the crap it was, but all I know is I'd never seen anything like it before or since. Yeah, feel free to chime in because that was me going.
Did you take a sample of it?
No, the whole.
Oh my God! I'm thinking if you took a sample of it and had it, analyzed to see maybe what it was.
Homeowner would not let me.
She
came in.
No ghost goo for you.
She took a big, like a big glass cover that goes over a cake, like if you have it on a platter,
right,
like a dome bell, and smacked it over that and says, "Don't touch it." Because I'm doing one of these, I was touching it, and I'm like, because I'm silly like that, like, and it's just I had zero taste to it, nothing. And then it all dried out, and all you see in there is the evidence of me going. So she
biodomed the ectoplasm.
She did.
No,
I would not let me touch it. And she goes, "I see your fingerprint in there."
I think it's because you tried to taste it that she kind of got freaked out.
I'm a researcher, damn it. That's what I do. I had to touch it. And tasting is just another. Does it smell like anything?
Oh man!
I was that guy. I did it, and she saw the evidence of my finger in there. And
I must admit, I would have poked it, but I'm not sure about tasting.
I would biodome that too if I saw you touching something and tasting it.
What did they say in Ghostbusters when you got ectoplasma? What was the saying that they had? What was it?
Oh gosh, come on, slimed.
Yeah.
Now slime. I love slime.
I know.
In this case, crystal.
Crystal.
No, she wouldn't let me touch it. It was not for a lack of trying, because the common sense was get a sample, get a wet sample, because it looked like icing sugar, and it was clear in color.
So there you go, Wayne. To answer your question, Wayne was asking what color is it. So.
So, but when the homeowner just totally puts a kibosh on your research, you just got, all right. Don't want to play nice in a sandbox. I'm going home with my toys.
Like, come on. Give us a
there's some dark, deep, dark secret going on there, and she doesn't want you to find out.
I know. I took my toys and went home.
Maybe try not to taste things next time.
Right. I wasn't even supposed to touch it. I'm like, I'm going to touch it. I'm going to smell it.
You've got it on.
That's all I could get.
It's like when you get those signs that says "Do not touch." You've got it on you.
I know.
Man, she whips out her grandmother's glassware. You know you're in trouble, man.
I was ready to do the whole
special stuff. That china.
Well, you're in trouble if she got out the shot glasses.
No such luck, man. No such luck. So I don't know what it was, but it was unusual, and for whatever it's worth.
That is weird.
It is weird because it crystallized in under an hour.
But I mean, there's what liquids. Crystallized.
It's almost like liquid soap. You know how gooey it feels? Like
I know what it means.
Soap, a thick liquid
soap. Like when you heat it up.
I just remember when I was a kid, and if I swore, I'd get some of that in my mouth.
Oh, so yeah.
Oh.
That's the old mum saying. That's what they used to say. Just don't be quiet and
Yeah.
shove a bar of soap in your
I
mouth.
could say something really bad about that.
I'm
Steve.
sure you could, Alex. Of
I bet
course
you
you
could.
can.
Go on then.
I'm gonna try to restrain myself here.
You said
Go
a
on,
bad
then.
word.
No, you said it now.
All I gotta say is this is why Steve doesn't go to church anymore.
No, this is why you don't swear anymore.
I don't swear.
No, I don't swear anymore. I don't swear.
I swear plenty.
I swear I don't swear.
Oh, I swear all the time. I'm quite surprised I haven't swore on here, actually. Very, very surprised.
Yeah, you've been behaving yourself, Melissa.
I know. But I'm good with issues these days.
That's good.
Wayne is saying he's thinking it's maybe sap from the table.
Not that kind of table, unfortunately. No, no, not at all.
Good idea, though. Good idea.
Yeah.
Yep. Nothing sticky.
It was just like it was just gooey.
I wouldn't taste
don't know,
it if it was sticky.
Yeah.
And it just slapped on the table. It was on the table.
There was like a pile of it, and I'm thinking if it's soap, it's gonna
Yeah.
taste like soap, and it had zero taste, nothing to it, and the fact that it just crystallized. You know,
Yeah,
she
that's
just
weird.
sat
What-
there and watched
I
me
mean,
after that, and then they came down with that thing and slapped it on there after it crystallized. She goes, I just want to see how long it lasts. Well, it's gonna last now, and it was gonna be able to touch
No,
it.
you kind of literally put like glass over it and make it sweat for a start. You know what I mean? It's just-
But wouldn't that be something else if you tasted it and you started to crystallize?
no.
Everybody's got to go sometime, Steve. It's on the job.
You see it standing there like that.
Yeah, go doing something happy. That's okay.
She went down doing what she loves. No.
Yeah, I
Turn
know.
to salt.
I know.
Well, Michelle, is this like at the end of this experience? Do you think this was ectoplasm, or
No,
you just
I've
kind of?
never seen ectoplasm.
Yeah,
so I really
it's,
didn't
like,
have
hard.
anything to compare it to. But I found,
It's super
highly unusual.
weird.
It was
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
for sure. It was weird for sure. So, mind you, this is the same location where homeowner's on the phone with me at one point, and she says, again, it was a big place, and she goes, I have to go down and drop something off in the mailbox. I see the postal person coming up. I'm like, okay, whatever. So she puts the phone down, and all of a sudden, I hear her walking outside, like I could hear her. And because she's a very loud woman, and she was just yattering away. The dogs start losing their freaking minds. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. All of a sudden, it feels like something's picking up the phone and it's playing with the phone. And I hear a growl. And it's like, okay, whatever. And all of a sudden, something turns around and calls me an FNC. I am not one that gets offended by the C word. So I've just kind of sat there and went the best I could come up with, because nothing has ever spoken to me like that, like at all. Like you hear the odd, like little whispers and things like that. This thing came out, hauled off, growled at me, called me an FNC. The best I could come up with is, you're a freaking potty mouth.
Potty mouth.
The total best I could freaking do is that. Anyway,
Michelle, you have to hang around Steve and I more often.
No, but I'm usually a little
Naughty
more hostile
girl.
than that one. But that's the best I could do anyway. She comes running up and she goes, what happened? The dogs are going crazy. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. So that was that. So I don't know. It was a highly strange place. And yeah. So
wow.
Weird gooey stuff and something that throws the C word around like
Come on. Nobody else has ever been to a weird place that has weird things like that ever happen.
Or am I just the lucky one?
I think you're the lucky one there, Michelle.
Super lucky.
Yeah.
Super lucky. Yeah.
Our house, our haunted house did crazy things. I'd get growled at and stuff. And, I just walk around. So, not now. I'm busy.
Right.
Yeah, come on.
I don't have time for you today.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. So that was about it. But we'd see doors open and close. We had a lot of voices being projected. Like Wayne and I were always being sent around, like something in my voice, something in his voice. And, I walk in the house one day, somebody's like, hello there. I'm like, hey.
Oh, hi. Morning.
It's like, okay. Oh, yeah. And ET stuff and all kinds of stuff and sounds. And like, there was always stuff going on in that house. When we moved out of there and came here, I'm like, do you hear that? He's like, what? I'm going, absolutely freaking nothing. Isn't it wonderful?
Right.
Damn it. Yeah. It's been heavenly. So
yeah, I've had a lot of doors slam in here too. Just in the middle of the night when you're sleeping, all of a sudden the bedroom door slams.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Stroke out.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah.
No,
not here.
I mean, I had this really weird incident happen, and again here, I was sleeping, and I had my arm outside the covers and just hanging over the side of the bed, and I don't know if I was like conscious, semi-conscious, or whatever, but I remember seeing this figure floating across the room, the foot of the bed, and come to my side of the bed, and literally I could feel this thing touching my arm, and a sense of warmth.
Warm.
It was the weirdest experience I ever had. Like I said, and the object, or not object, but figure, was almost like transparent. And so was I dreaming? But I remember like feeling that sort of interaction. It was just kind of weird.
That's crazy. A lot of things happen within those like early morning hours, and you go back, and you just kind of fall back into sleep. And that's usually when a lot of people will, have their deepest dreams, or like, I get downloads. I've had things like that. Yeah. Yeah. See, I've had amazing dreams at that point.
Short
period. Shadows and myths.
Could be when people are most like especially between like waking and sleeping, like they're in the right brain state to be able to receive these things. It's that I will say that's the only time I've ever heard a disembodied voice. Like I don't necessarily have like sleep paralysis. I don't think I've ever had what I would term sleep paralysis.
Yeah, it's frightening.
Where you were like frozen and then you see something like you can't move, you can't. I've never had that. Have I seen things? I've seen things. Yeah, I've never been frozen. I've never been paralyzed. I was able to like kind of get up out of bed, turn on the light, like what the fuck was that? Or the one time that I heard like a disembodied voice, like I was awake, like it was like right in between that perfect spot. It's like I don't know, sweet spot.
Yeah, I was wide awake when I seen mine. Wide awake.
Yeah.
Literally wide awake, but in the dark. To find out that it's a bit of a weird story, actually. It's not going to be too long, so don't worry. It was in my sister's bedroom, where my sister is now. That used to be my bedroom. It's only a small bedroom. And I used to sleep in there, and I think I was only, I'd say about 16, 17, something like that. I did start smoking then, obviously, as you do. But it definitely wasn't smoke or anything like that. I seen just a black figure, just like full form black figure with a tall hat by the door. Now my door's grey, so you could literally see this figure against the door, as like what you call the bedroom, the back door, the back of the door. And I seen her, and I just thought, oh yeah, whatever, just one of them. I said, okay then, move something in this room. And lo and behold, I used to have like an old, like a table lamp that used to bend over on like a metal bendy thing. And it was a lamp next to my bedside cabinet. And he used to have a desk with a plastic chair by my window. And lo and behold, it moved that lamp from my bedside table over to the desk. The next day when I woke up, to find out later on, which I mean, I say later on, I'm talking about 6 months ago, that my mum actually said that when she lived down the North End, she actually seen a figure there. My mum doesn't really believe in all of this. But she said that she seen a black figure with a tall hat on. She thought it was somebody trying to steal our Sharon as a baby when she lived in that house. And to find out that I'd seen that same thing, what my mum had seen, in that bedroom where our Sharon's sleeping now. Might be coincidental, might be something to it, I'm not sure. But I said, why haven't you ever bloody told me that story? And she said, because no, I don't like to talk about things like this, you know that. I said, yeah, but you know, why haven't you ever mentioned it before? And she said, because I didn't really think nothing of it. So you bloody what? You didn't think anything of that by seeing like a shadow? Of course, you know I love this stuff. And yeah, I just put 2 and 2 together and thought if there was something to that, maybe. I don't know, because that's where my sister is, in that room now, where I had seen it. Do you know what I mean? And that's when our Sharon was a baby. But she literally woke up and she thought it was somebody stealing our Sharon as a baby when she was in her old house. But I'm thinking, I don't know whether to think anything of it like, but I just thought it was a bit weird.
It's enough to make you think it's weird.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's enough.
I like weird stuff. Yeah, exactly. I kind of like weird stuff. But yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
It's all right, even though I went round the world with it, like, but yeah, I got there in the end. Look at me face going red here. Got a little red rosy cheeks here.
Well, guys, girls, gals, I want to thank you all for coming on. This has been a blast. Really enjoy this. And we'll definitely have to do it again. We'll definitely have to do it again. And you know, Laura, I think this is the first time you've been on, isn't it? On our show.
Yes,
and
on your show, yes.
Carla, this is your first time. And again, I want to thank you too for coming on. Guys, starting with Laura, let everybody know where to find you and so on and so on, and just move on down the line.
Raw Side Paranormal on YouTube. You can also find me on Facebook. That's pretty much it.
I'm a moderator on Steve's channel.
Oh yeah, I moderate on everybody's. You can find me in Steve's chat. You can, you know, I'm always lurking in there somewhere. Yep.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, you can find me on Wednesday and Thursday nights on the Outer Realm. We stream to 8 different platforms. So there's YouTube, anything that United Public Radio owns, Roku, things like that, and Beyond the Outer Realm on Tuesday afternoons. So that's a new fun one. But it's at 2:00, I believe, Eastern, or just go to the website michelledroche.com. I don't really do much with it. I'm too busy, but you'll get a tidbit. It'll lead you to where everything else is. So that'll probably work out. Yeah.
Go ahead, Carla.
Thanks for having me on. It was nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
Stories, so I just want to say that first. And mine's pretty easy. You can find me at Horror of Horror on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So I do a lot on YouTube. I join Laura Sunday nights with Chick Chat usually, so we'll do that. But it's pretty fun.
Kristen?
Oh, well, first off, I just want to say I hope all of you on this stream, because I'm meeting y'all for the very first time in the flesh. Y'all are great, and I hope we'd keep in touch. But for everybody else, you can find the Paranormal Girl podcast at Paranormal Girl Pod on all socials, social wide. You can also listen to the show on any podcast platform, and I am on YouTube. I do video versions. I am, of course, also a co-host on Beer, Booze, and Boogeymen, so you can catch our lives once a month, first Saturday of every month, on YouTube as well at Beer, Booze, and Boogeymen. And I hope you do. I think this next one, it's going to be, oh gosh, don't fuck it up, July 5th. July 5th. We're doing cryptids. We're doing cryptids. Yes.
That's right.
Call in. Call in. It's live calls in, baby. So do it. And
I'll
yeah.
watch. I'm not
Awesome.
calling in.
Oh, thank you. I got one. I got one, guys. All right. That's it. Thank you.
And Mel, I put
everybody knows me, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I put
YouTube.
I put everybody's link in the chat as well, and I will put it up here in the description as well. Yeah, once again, I want to thank you all for coming on. It's been a fun and look forward to doing another one for sure. And of course, would love to bring you all in for an individual interview or whatever else. You're always welcome here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys,
I just wanted to say something quick before you guys end the show.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
If anybody, any of you ladies, even Steve, Alex, you guys ever want to send me anything, your experiences, your stories, or anything, so I can put them in our community magazine, I would really appreciate it. I think everybody would be interested in hearing about you guys and what you do and your stories.
There you go.
To be honest with you, Laura, I do see your live, but like for me, because it's like 4:19 in the morning for me now, so it's like time difference sometimes. I do like. I don't comment, but I do like.
Oh, wonderful! That's all
I
right.
just love how she said that. All you ladies, and Steve too, and even Steve too.
Thank you for including me. Thank you.
We love Steve. He was sexy man of the paranormal for
June. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Woo. And Alex, with his fishnet.
Yeah, the fishnets. Yeah. That's for a separate magazine.
Oh, come on. Why not have a bit of
It's not about the paranormal. It's more about people that make you gag.
It's pareidolia, isn't it?
Well, there you go. There you go, folks. There, the season finale for season 17. We're back with season 18 in September. Look forward to seeing you all out. And I'm sure we have a special bonus show coming up, UFO based. Actually, a bonus show that we're working on that's going to be coming up probably in the next couple of weeks.
You're going to get Matt on.
Matt, maybe, and Steve. So, but we're going to do a special show there, and we always do a bonus show in the summer just to let everybody know what's coming up in the new season. So until then, guys, I want to thank every one of you for popping in here, and of course the panel for coming in and sharing their stories and experiences and thoughts and everything else. It's been a blast. Really enjoyed it. Guys, take care, and thank you for watching and listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
Bye.
Good night, all.
Night.
Take care, everyone.
Night.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Alex. Bye, everyone.